Hey guys, this is Sean Manaher with Book Marketing Tools. Welcome you to another edition of your Tuesday Tips email update video edition. And we've been covering over the last 3 weeks blog tours, what you can do in order to set up a blog tour, research blog tours, learn how to schedule a blog tour, decide on how many blogs that you want to do. We've been covering a lot about blog tours, and today is no different. We're going to be looking at the different platforms that you can use, specifically the different social media platforms that you can use in order to set up a blog tour. And so today we're going to be covering a number of different things. And the first one we're going to be talking about is Facebook. Next, we're going to be talking about Twitter, going to be looking at Goodreads, going to be talking about a platform that I think is underutilized and needs some attention from authors, Tumblr. And then we're going to be looking at some other platforms and options that you have available to you as an author to engage with when you're doing a blog tour. So let's start from the beginning. We're talking about Facebook, and I'm going to be, when I'm covering each of these platforms, I'm going to be covering two sections of it. I'm going to be covering the why, so that you understand, well, why you should consider this platform for your blog tour. And then we're going to be looking at a quick how-to, some quick ideas of how you can utilize that platform in order to utilize it for your blog tour. So the first one is Facebook. The why, worldwide, there are 1.35 billion monthly active Facebook users. That is a significant number of people that are on Facebook, and it needs your attention. If you're not already on Facebook, you definitely want to consider it as an option. Another thing with it, the average time spent on Facebook is 20 minutes. That is a lot of time that people are spending on Facebook each and every day. And so if you want to find people who are interested in your book, you have plenty of opportunity because people are hanging out on Facebook. In addition, there are some utilization tools on Facebook specifically, and you would want to research this a little bit, something called Facebook Graph Search, which really allows you to use Facebook as a gigantic search engine for finding people who would be interested in the books that you are interested in. So take a look and research Facebook Graph Search if you'd want to learn more about that. Now, with the how-to of how to utilize Facebook in order to engage people with your book, with your blog tour. Well, number one, you have the opportunity to engage friends, family, and foes individually. That is, you can utilize your personal Facebook profile so that you can connect with people so that they can get to know you personally and then ultimately get to know your book. And when you have a blog tour, you can let them know. So if you already have a Facebook profile page, well, why not let the people that you're connected with most, that is your friends and family, and let them know about the blog tour, what's happening, so that they can rally around you and get you additional exposure for your blog tour. In addition, Facebook allows you to create Facebook professional business pages, or public figure pages, so that you can then utilize that as well if you're concerned about using your personal profile. But I would say try both. If you want to have something more personalized, then utilize your profile page. If you want to have something that is more separated, then utilize a public figure or business page on Facebook, and you can engage with them that way, that is, with your readers. Finally, within Facebook, there are a number of groups that you can connect with. And so I would recommend that you utilize the search function within Facebook and try and research your particular genre that you're writing in and the groups that are connected with on Facebook. My initial thought with that is, if you're going to be connecting on these Facebook groups, make sure you connect with the influencers, and those influencers being the admins and moderators of groups. So save yourself some time and really go after the people who are the leaders of these groups so that you can then befriend them and they can get to know you. And then when you share your blog tour and let them know that it's coming up, they'll more than likely and more than be willing to share that with their community as you have become active and engaged in it. So the next platform that we're going to cover is Twitter. In the why for Twitter, Twitter has 284 million monthly active users. Certainly a far cry from what Facebook has, but 80% of users are on mobile. And so when you consider the active use of mobile, which is 67% of all internet traffic is now on mobile, and 80% of Twitter active users are on mobile, you're utilizing a platform that is connected with the people that want to be on Twitter and want to be on a mobile device, and you want to be there if they're there. In addition, there are over 500 million tweets that go out each day. And in that crowded space, you have the opportunity to segment your content by utilizing hashtags. And hashtags are a great way in which you can both curate the content that you're looking to for people to connect with, but also to specifically utilize hashtags so that people can find out what your content is all about. And so let's talk about the why or the how on Twitter so that you can know how to use it when you are doing a blog tour. The first one is tweet chats or Twitter chats, as it's called. So what you'd want to do in this case is find the particular hashtags or content that you're wanting to connect with on Twitter. So let's say you have a book in the sci-fi genre. So search for the hashtag sci-fi and start to try and create conversations around either a particular show that people like or are interested in sci-fi, or if you have a big enough fan base, begin to create these Twitter chats so that you can become known as the person that loves to talk about sci-fi. So you might use the hashtag sci-fi or some other variation of the genre that you're trying to connect with. And in doing this, this allows you to engage with folks in a very real and fun way, which is something that people love to do on Twitter. In addition, you can build a massive following on Twitter. And I mean that by following the influencers that you believe are the top people in your genre. So let's say you're an author in the Christian fiction genre. First determine who are the largest influencers or the largest authors within the Christian fiction genre, and then go to their Twitter account and follow their followers. And then in turn, because those followers like the content from that top author in Christian fiction, they may like your content that is written in Christian fiction as well. So that's a nice way in which to find followers, but also it allows you to connect with those individuals that you know are already interested in the genre that you're writing in. And while you're at it, if you are on Twitter and you are looking to connect with individuals to promote your book during the blog tour, Twitter is a great way to personally reach out to people and simply let them know that you would love to have them as part of the blog tour. So it is as simple as that. Find the person that you want to have in your blog tour. Let them know, hey, John Smith, I love your content on your website. I would love to have you part of my blog tour. If it's okay, I'm going to send you an email. Simple as that. Reach out to them. That's a great way to do that. In addition, as I had mentioned, hashtags are a great way in which you can utilize Twitter in order to both curate the content and research content that you want to find other followers. So what this practically means is that you would go into the Twitter search bar and you would type in the hashtag you're trying to search for, such as like we were talking about sci-fi, and then you would find all the people that are talking about or have created hashtags with the hashtag sci-fi in it. And then you can reach out to those folks as well, or connect with them, comment on it, retweet and tweet their content. And it is a great way to really engage. The final thing I would like to say about Twitter is make your tweets visually appealing. As we have been talking about in 2015, you need to do things that are a little bit different and interesting. And one of the great ways to engage on Twitter, which other people are doing but not enough authors are doing, is make sure every tweet almost every tweet has some image with it. And this is going to create greater levels of engagement and interest in your post because visually appealing things appeal to people much more than simple text content. So, those are the things I would like to say about Twitter. If you're not engaged on Twitter, take a look and see if it's an option for you. The next one I'd like to talk about is Goodreads. You probably, as an author, you're probably very familiar with Goodreads, and for a good reason. 30 million members within Goodreads. Over 900 million books have been added to their shelves, and 34 million reviews have been done for the books. And now, in talking about the how to utilize Goodreads for the maximum benefit of your blog tour, number one, you want to make sure that your profile is completely filled out. You'd want to also make sure that you include your list of favorites and recent reads with your fans so that they know what you're reading as well. Write a blog to generate some interest in followers and people following you on Goodreads. Publicize any kind of upcoming events. And this is specifically geared towards blog tours. When you have a blog tour, well, let people know about it. And Goodreads is a great place in order to do that. Next, you can share book excerpts and other writings that you're working on. So let's say you're just finishing up your latest book and you want to let people know that it's done. Well, why not share a little sneak peek into the final chapter of your book so people get some interest, and then follow that up with, hey, by the way, I'm releasing my book on X date, and here is when the blog tour is going to happen. Come and join me. Here's some more information. A great way to utilize Goodreads for that. You can even do videos. You can post quizzes. You can add Goodreads author widget to your blog or website. There are a lot of ways in which you can utilize Goodreads for when you are doing a blog tour. And those are just some of those. So check out Goodreads if you haven't done so already. As an author, like I said, I'm sure you're already on there. The next one I'm going to be talking about is something that I think is super underutilized, and that is Tumblr. Tumblr is a multimedia, visually appealing platform that has over 7 different ways in which you can create content on their website. And I'm going to be talking about that in just a second of how to utilize that. Now, why? Well, right now, as of today, there have been over 87,822,770 posts created on Tumblr. That is a lot of content. And when I researched Tumblr to find out, well, how much time is spent on Tumblr, second only to Facebook, Tumblr's average time on a session is 14 minutes. And while they have far less people as monthly active users, the people that are on Tumblr are spending an exorbitant amount of time on Tumblr. And the reason being is because the way in which Tumblr is designed is focused on creatives and individuals who are trying to share worthwhile, visually appealing content and interesting content as well. So I would recommend that you definitely take a look at Tumblr as an option in 2015 if you're not already engaged with it. It is a lesser utilized platform. It's known and it is used, but is lesser known, but the engagement is just huge. And I think it is really worth your time to check out. Another different way, let me back up. How you can utilize Tumblr further is, as I mentioned, there are 7 different content types that you can utilize on Tumblr. Those 7 different content types allow you to create a more interesting experience for the users. And within Tumblr, there are those 7 different areas are text, photo, quote, link, chat, audio, and video types of content. And when you go on to Tumblr and take a look at that, you can definitely see the way in which it is designed is really cool, really interesting. And for a quick aside, let's go over to Tumblr and have you take a look at it so you can see it yourself and why I think it's really important for you to take a look. So here's Tumblr. Here's the dashboard and some information related to the analytics in your home area. It's really easy to set up. And I'm going to go over to our Book Marketing Tools account. And as you can see, we have an amazing visually appealing picture of these cats. I had recorded an earlier session that didn't take, and this was the result. Anyways, so Book Marketing Tools, this is a Tumblr account that we created. And as you can see, very big pictures, beautiful pictures. Here is a link option. So many of you signed up through the Ultimate Author Checklist. They allow you to create a quick link. For those that have audio and you want to link audio content, their Spotify is hooked into this, makes it really nice. Finally, if you have a podcast, SoundCloud is integrated really nicely, and you can see how really cool and interesting this looks on the Tumblr blog. There's a quote option. I love quotes. I think they're a really powerful way to convey points and ideas and get people engaged and interested in your content. But a great quote widget is available on Tumblr as well. And then you have your standard text and image content that you can share. And this here was actually a copy of a post that was done on the Book Marketing Tools blog, which I then repurposed and put on Tumblr to show how easy it is actually to create content that just looks really cool. So you see the title, you have some content, and then you have a quote that can be easily embedded. An image was added, then a link to the original story about author earnings. And so really cool stuff that you can do with it. Finally, you have the video. And this is easy way to embed YouTube videos, and it plays right here on Tumblr. So there are, as a real quick mention, there are 7 different ways in which you can connect and create content on Tumblr. And if you're not already on there and you're looking for a platform that I believe is underutilized and available, I believe, for authors to take advantage of, I would say check out Tumblr. Finally, in the last section, we're talking about other different platform opportunities. You have YouTube, you have Pinterest, Instagram, Flickr, you have podcasting, Google+, Hangouts. All of these afford you an opportunity as an author to get the word out about your particular blog tour and when you're getting it out there. In particular, YouTube videos are just a great opportunity for you to share about your blog tour. Don't be afraid of the camera. So I just have to say, I've been working on my own video content creation for the last year. And when I started out, if you look at that very first episode of the Author Hangout and you see how grainy and pixelated it is, you would think, oh my gosh, this is horrible. You need to just give it up and you're never going to do this again. I thought early on that it was going to be difficult, and yeah, it was, but you know what? You just press through, you keep going, and you learn. And that's what I've been doing over the last year. So don't be afraid of the camera. Don't be afraid of the mic. In just a few short weeks, couple weeks, I'm going to be launching a new podcast that I'm going to be doing called Sidepreneurs. It's a podcast that's geared for entrepreneurs and those looking to launch, grow, and graduate into full-time entrepreneurship. I couldn't have done it if I didn't start the Author Hangout podcast, which is exactly how some of you connected with me. So it's really important that you utilize these other tools and options of platforms to get the word out about your blog tour. You better believe when I do my book release for the book that I'm writing about sidepreneurs and how to launch a business in 90 days, I'm going to utilize my podcast to let people know about the blog tour being set up and where it's going to be and how they can be involved. So if you have the opportunity to be on a podcast or a Google Plus Hangout or some other medium or social media platform, go ahead and do it. Get the word out. Let people know that you're doing a blog tour. And it's a fantastic way for people to engage with you. In this case, see me visually. When on a podcast, listen to you. You're in their ears. They're going to really connect with you. So I really encourage you, as you're developing the blog tours, as you're building things out, that you really take advantage of the opportunities that are in front of you and try things out. With all of that said, two things before we wrap this segment up is be focused. I've given you a lot of options. We've talked about Facebook, Twitter, Goodreads, Tumblr, other options of Google Plus, podcasts, YouTube, Pinterest, Instagram, Flickr, so many different platforms that you can get yourself out on. But I would suggest that you focus on one. That if you focus on one and really dig deep into that one particular social media platform first and leverage that as a point of strength, then it becomes easier for you to go onto other platforms and make a bigger impact than you would otherwise. And so, for instance, I started out my social media focus really with Google Plus. I started to learn it about a year and a half ago. Yep, just only a year and a half ago. And through the process of 6 months of really getting to know the platform, getting to know people on the platform, I built up a following. And then in January of last year, we started the Author Hangout, which really started to explode my presence on Google Plus and really started to get my name and the Author Hangout out there so that people could connect with me. From there, after about a year of doing all of this, I jumped over and I'm starting to focus in on Facebook. In addition, I'm focusing on Twitter. But I have seen a tremendous amount of growth in a very short period of time on both Facebook and Twitter, not because I'm doing something amazingly different, but because I know people now. And when people know you and are connected with you in one platform, it's so much easier for them to connect with you on other platforms and then introduce you to their friends and followers that they have. So in a recommendation for social media platforms and talking about these blog tours, make sure you stay focused and start with one. And then from that point, grow from that. And as we close, as in recapping things, we talked again about the different platforms in which you can utilize for the blog tours. This is a process in setting up your process for your social media accounts. Make sure that you have your profiles filled out properly. You don't want to set up a blog tour and have people finding you on Facebook and not have a platform filled out properly. So if you're going to have a social media platform on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Google Plus, all of these, will make sure that you have your profiles filled out and it's current. So that's everything that I have for today. When we pick things up next week for the blog tours, we're going to be talking about giveaways, blog tour launch party, and if we can get to it, we're going to be talking about the pitfalls of doing blog tours and the things that you need to avoid, and finally looking at some resources, free and paid. We may not get to it next week, but we are looking to finish this up in the next couple of weeks. So please let me know what you think about this video, and I would appreciate your comments, your likes on YouTube, and if you so desire, subscribe to us on YouTube. We would really appreciate it. Thanks, and we'll talk to you next time.